All right, the Border Patrol, the FBI, the Secret Service couldn't keep us away. Pruett Miller back doing a video after a practice session at an IndyCar race. Not just any IndyCar race, the Mecca Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Like we said the other night in our podcast, this is a place we look forward to coming to. But I think Team Penske is kind of looking forward to the race based on today's results, since they were 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, quick Penske's. We could put that down to the Chevy Aero kit and really strong Chevy engines. So we know that on street courses where the super high downforce really doesn't matter as much because you got a lot of slow corners you're going through, that's where the Honda and its super engine and its super downforce and drag really isn't, the aero part isn't an issue. That's why I've seen them so strong in those situations. Here, where you trim out a bit and you look for low drag and try and get into that area where you can run low drag, but still enough to be really quick in the corners, that's Chevy's specialty. This, if we don't leave here Sunday with a Penske car or someone with a bow tie spraying champagne, something really strange will have happened.
Would this be, in your estimation, their best track?
Just about.
For what you just said?
Yeah. I mean, this is a place where they should be devastating. I mean, when we go to Mid-Ohio, I think because there aren't as many super long straights, it is a little twistier. I think we should see the Hondas a little stronger there. But, yeah, for the most part, this should be a bow tie playground.
All right, Will Power won last year's race. It was a fabulous race from 2nd to 14th. Tony Kanaan was catching him a second lap. Will was saving fuel. I think Graham Rahal finished 3rd. Today, Alexander Rossi was 5th quick overall, but he set that time this morning, and we both have predicted he's going to win a race in the second half of the season. So he's really kind of established himself as the guy at that. I know Sato won Indy, but I mean, if you look race in and race out, Rossi's probably been the quickest.
I think the kid's doing great work. His engineer, Jeremy Millis, said, this kid absolutely loves the high commitment tracks. And that's what this is. You go bombing into turn 1 at 180, whatever, hang a hard right like a madman. That takes a special person to do that. There's so many corners here, the carousel obviously, but there's so many corners here where you just take a deep breath and you don't hope for the best, but you have the skill to fly through there and keep the thing dancing on, the edge of control. That's a place where Rossi's really good at living. So, and I'm not saying others aren't, but this is a place where he in particular is strong. So, provided he and Jeremy can stay on top of the setup, I think he will definitely be among Honda's contenders.
Okay, Hinch was 6th overall. I think Ed Jones did another nice job with a Chicago Bear helmet. We were explaining to him that wearing a Chicago Bears helmet in Wisconsin is probably the best way to be publicly stoned, and he kind of got that look, and we said, but because it's for Walter Payton, your life will probably be spared. But this is the home of cheeseheads. They take their football serious. And Dixie and Graham Rahal, the Hondas were like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It wasn't, we're not talking a complete blowout by any means. I mean, you look at this morning, Rossi was essentially a quarter second clear of the Penske cars. Penske cars and the Chevys came back this afternoon, but, there's nothing outrageous in terms of, the Hondas are a year and a half off on the lap time. So definitely more competitive. And if I'm the Honda teams, I'm going into qualifying tomorrow thinking, let's obviously wind this thing up, probably take, I don't want to say risks, but let's maybe push a little bit more than maybe we would, because this is a place where if you can start 1 or 2 more positions forward, you might be able to stay there the whole time.
You had a story this morning on Racer.com about Mikel Aloshin's travails trying to get out of France and come to Elkhart Lake. In the meantime, Robert Wickens is in his car. What can you tell us now?
Well, we are waiting to hear if Mikel clears customs here, gets through. He was able to finally get his visa approved to leave France, and we're just waiting to hear everything is good in terms of getting on the ground here. And the Schmidt team, at least, is planning to have him in the car. Makes me wish there were 3 cars, because we really want to see Robert Wickens. I love that kid. You love that kid. Anybody that's seen him drive loves that kid. And as I wrote this morning, a lot of people like myself who believe if he could get in one good race, IndyCar team owners could see what he's all about and at least consider him as a future option. And I didn't just make that up. That's something where you hear a little bit in the paddock of folks saying, who've never gotten a chance to see this, let's hopefully get a little bit more than just one practice day out of him. So don't know if that's going to happen, though.
He impressed people when he tested for Sam Schmidt and Rick Peterson at Sebring, and that obviously stuck in the back of their mind. He was phenomenal when he was 16, 17, 18 years old as a teenager in Atlantics. He was so fast. We thought he was going to be the next Paul Tracy. He ends up going to Formula 3. He's a Formula 1 test driver. He'll tell you all that in the interview. We did a good interview with him, and you're going to watch that on Racer.com. The other story that you broke and you talked about was Esteban Gutierrez says he's in the car for the rest of the season. But we're hearing that Seb's making really good progress, and knowing Bourdais, he don't want to sit out. If he can come back by Watkins Glen, he'll try.
Yeah, and that's another, if there was a third car, it'd be a perfect scenario. Esteban, who's loving this, I mean, he's truly full smiles, which I don't think he's had for a little while in motor racing, but Seb's making incredible progress. He initially targeted coming back for Sonoma. He'd said that a lot right after his crash. I keep hearing that Watkins Glen is the new goal. We've also heard, you and I walking up and down the paddock a little bit, that a question mark as to whether Gutierrez is signed for the full season, or whether there's a question mark as to that number 18 Dale Coyne car for Sonoma, and whether he's actually signed for that, or is that door open for Seb to come back if he wants to, if Dale's cool with that. Also keep in mind, with all the damage that Dale has had this year, everything it's cost, and also the fact that having a driver that he really cares for and Seb get hurt, I mean, Dale has a big heart. This stuff, it impacts him. I have to believe there's a part of him that wishes Seb would just wait until next year.
Don't rush him back.
Don't rush back, but also, could you imagine if he got hurt again? So there's a bit of a paternal thing, I would say, going on with Dale here in terms of Seb and Gutierrez and who would or wouldn't be in the car to finish the season. But if Seb has his wishes, he'd be in that car tomorrow. So just a case of where he and his team owner line up on if and when that might happen before the season ends.
All right. We will be back tomorrow after qualifying. We hope the weather's just like it is today, and we'll have another nice crowd like we had last year on Sunday when it took 3 hours to get out of the parking lot. Marshall Pruett, Robin Miller, Racer.com. We got our hat on, boss. Racer Magazine, thanks for reading and watching.